فأما الإنسان إذا ما ابتلاه ربه فأكرمه ونعمه فيقول ربي أكرمن أما إذا ما ابتلاه فقدر عليه.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. I can see your screen. We'll start in maybe about 2 minutes.
Yes, inshallah. Yes.
فيقول ربي أهانن كلا بل لا تكرمون اليتيم ولا تحاضون على طعام المسكين وتأكلون التراث أكلا لما وتحبون المال حبا جما كلا إذا دكت الأرض دكا دكا وجاء ربك والملك صفا صفا وجيء يومئذ
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء المرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وآله. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi jameen. Thank you again for joining us for this last session in the month of Ramadan on Dua Makarim Akhlaq and a tip on the month of Ramadan. We have completed Dua Makarim Akhlaq, so we'll be discussing about Eid night and also other aspects, inshallah, of Ramadan. I would like to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this wonderful opportunity to be with you during this month of Ramadan. I would also like to thank all of you for your dedication, that you have been coming every day in the morning here, in spite of the fact that some of you keep awake the whole night, and then you say your prayers, you do taqibat, and then you stay awake extra minutes to be with us. Also, I would like to thank especially to our moderator, Brother Ali Manji, who has done a wonderful job, mashallah. Every day he was there on time to open the room so that nobody is left out. No, may Allah reward him and his family for his dedication, inshallah. So since we have completed the Dua Makarim Akhlaq, we will discuss, as we promised, that now moving forward, that now, alhamdulillah, we are completing Ramadan today. How do we move forward? So I would like to just share with you that at least let us retain 5 good practices. There are so many things which we have learned and we did in this month of Ramadan. But let us try to keep 5 practices throughout the year. The first thing, of course, inshallah, all of us have been forgiven on account of our ibadat, istighfar, which we did in the month of Ramadan. We did nights of Qadr, 3 nights as part of Amal. Also after namaz, after Fajr prayers, we have been doing istighfar throughout, right? Between the namaz, even between 2 sajdas, astaghfirullah rabbi wa atubu ilayh. So we hope that all of us have been forgiven. And now we have a clean slate of record, inshallah. So let us not spoil this record with sins and bad attitude. Bad attitude because just now we discussed about akhlaq. So let us try. It's not that, for example, because we are fasting, so at that time when somebody is backbiting, we say, don't do that. When somebody wants to lie, say, no, don't do it because I'm fasting. Let's try to keep that kind of spirit, although we may not be fasting tomorrow, beginning tomorrow if it's Eid, but even then, let's keep this thing. There's a beautiful hadith of Mawla Aminu Mu'mineen in Najib Balagha. He says, وَكُلُّ يَوْمٍ La yusallahu fi fawa yawma Eid. Every day wherein Allah is not disobeyed, when a sin of Allah is not committed, right? Fawa yawma Eid, and that is actually is the day of Eid. So real Eid is the day, any day of the life, any day of the year, right? If we have not committed, if you go to sleep and just look at your record, as we remember, we discussed 2-3 times muhasabatun nafs, self-appraisal, right? That we have to self-appraise. So as we go to sleep and you realize that, mashallah, since morning till evening, you try to stay away from sin, that is the day of Eid. So that is the first thing, that we have developed in month of Ramadan, that strong will and power not to commit sins, despite of the fact that sometimes we are incited to do it, or people, for example, make us do it. Even then we say, no, I'm fasting, it's not Ramadan. I would not like to discuss about others. I don't want to give it. I don't want to, for example, lie or cheat, right? Let's keep that kind of record and that attitude and that kind of just try to have that kind of attitude even after Ramadan. Even if I'm not fasting, let's have that kind of commitment, inshallah. The second thing, we also have been saying our prayers on time, especially I'm sure all of us said our Maghrib prayers on time, because that was the time when we were waiting for iftar. So maximum, maybe some of us did iftar, then we stayed our prayers, or some of us did prayers and then iftar, but we did not delay our namaz, right? In the same way, many of us, the fact that you are attending here and those who are in the East, for example, those who are from Toronto, or Orlando, or New Jersey, or those who are joining us from Kitchener, right? These are the people who said their prayers on time, and then they waited, they did their taqibat, and then they waited to join us, right? So you've been saying your Maghrib prayers, Fajr prayers also on time. And many of us also must have said our what Zohrain prayers on time also, inshallah. So let us keep that practice of that habit of saying prayers at all time, And what really has benefited me over the years, there is a program, Namaz Timer, which you can download and just put on your computer, on your laptop or your desktop, right? And you can get it free from muslimsbusinesses.com. If you go there, just download Namaz Timer. The beauty of our Namaz Timer, there are two things. One is, for example, you can set Quran being recited 5 minutes before Azan, 10 minutes before Azan, 15 minutes before Azan. So how long does it take you to get ready? Accordingly, you can set the Quran. For example, in me, in the afternoon, I do 10 minutes because it takes 5 minutes. In the evening, I do 5 minutes, right? So in the same way, depending on how long it takes you to get ready, sometimes the seniors get longer to get to get the taharat done, everything. So you set your timing there. That's one thing. Second thing about this good timer is that, for example, if your city is not covered in that, so you can easily just take the timetable of your city and make a part of it. You just don't need to be very expert. Somebody who knows little thing about computer and programming can easily insert your own timing, you want. So keep in mind, many cities are covered, but in case, let's say your city is not covered in this timetable, you can do that. So try to download this thing. This will help you because it will remind you and the family that it's time now for namaz, right? They'll get start ready. So that way we will see. And there are many, many hadiths. We recently, we had every Friday we take out Quran reflection. If you see Quran reflection number 470, if you go to our website, Quran reflection number 470, there's a discussion about this aspect about namaz. But only one hadith from Imam Sadiq al-Islam says, as soon as the time for an obligatory wajib salat sets in, the door of the heavens are open, so that the accepted deeds of the servants can ascend upwards automatically. So you've done good deeds since morning. Now you're saying Zohar namaz. As you are sitting on your musalla, the doors of the heavens get open, and your good deeds already go there because you have come on time for namaz, right? Before you start your namaz, your deeds have already ascended. So you can see there are very many other hadiths which talk about the benefits and fazilat and importance of saying namaz at all time. So that habit which we have developed in Ramadan, let's keep it beyond Ramadan. Okay. Number 3 is, I'm sure many of you already say nafil namaz, but in case some of us are not doing that, right? So let us begin the practice of saying daily nawafil prayers. Now in this order, that means, based on the fazilat and time. So try not to miss Nafila of Fajr, which is 2 rakat. Before Fajr namaz, the Nafila of Fajr is 2 rakat. Imam Khomeini used to say that this is no less in importance than namaz al-shafa and namaz al-witr. So keep in mind that 2 rakat namaz of Nafila before Fajr, that try to start with, right? Then, for example, if you get tawfiq and you want to add, then make sure that you don't miss Nafila of Maghrib, which are 4 rakat, 2 namaz of 2 rakat each. But if you say Nafila namaz of Wafayla, then you just say another 2 rakat. Okay? So Nafila of Maghrib, don't miss out. There is a hadith which says that Nafila of Maghrib should not be missed out even by Musafir. A person who is Musafir will say 2 rakat namaz of Isha, will say 2 rakat namaz of Zohr and Asr, right? But he has been told, don't miss out Nafila of Maghrib. It's so important. So that also try if you can do it, if you are not doing it. If you are doing it, Nurullah, no, right? Nafila of Isha, which is 2 rakat, which is said in the state of sitting. Now, which is very important. Why? Because a person who recites Nafila of Isha is like he's preparing for Namaz al-Tahajjud. The hadith says that, for example, if I recite today Namaz Isha, today evening, and if Allah wishes that I die this evening, the first thing I receive tomorrow morning is that I receive what the reward of, I get the receive the reward of Namaz Tahajjud. You can see, and that Namaz Tahajjud which is accepted. So a person who has, for example, Nafila of Isha recites 2 rakat will automatically be able to get the reward of Tahajjud Salat. So it is 2 rakat namaz in the state of sitting. Then of course Tahajjud Salat. Now I have put some hadith later on in that slide number 3, but we will not discuss in detail because we may not have time. But Tahajjud Salat is really important. It is one of the, it is the peak of all Sunnat namaz. There is no Sunnat namaz which has been so much emphasized like Tahajjud Salat. We say namaz al-shab, namaz al-layl, right? That is something which is very important. And Tahajjud Salat, it is so important that the fourth Imam is telling us, he is the Ravi, right? Now I'm fasting, but I've heard from a number of scholars saying this thing, and that's why I'm taking the risk of saying that fourth Imam is saying that my aunt, Janab Zainab, did not miss Tahajjud Salat even when she was in prisons, in Sham and Kufa. Not only that, some of the scholars say on the night of Sham-e-Ghariba, the most difficult night, she has lost her son, she has lost her brothers, she has lost Imam Hussein, right? And it was the most tragic day. The day of Ashura is the most tragic day in the history of Ahlul Bayt. That evening, Janab Zainab did not miss the Tahajjud Salat. That after Ashura and the day eve of 11th of Muharram, she did not miss. So how much important it is, right? So try not to miss on Tahajjud. So it is 1 rakat, for example. Again, you can see the importance. If you're limited time, don't miss out 1 rakat with it. If you still have time, then at least recite 1 and then 2 rakat namaz shafa. If you have time, then recite the 4 times 2 rakat nafila fajr. Of course, the order is reversed, but I'm just keeping the order of importance. If you limited time, then you start with, for example, witr. If you still some time, then you also you can say 3 numbers. For example, if your time of reciting 3 rakat, then recite 2 rakat namaz shafa and namaz witr. So try not to miss the Tahajjud Salat. And then, of course, Nafila of Zuhr, which is 8 rakat, 4 times 2 rakat. And Nafila of Asr is 4. So this, what I've arranged is in the importance, in the line of importance, that how, if you have time, at least try to, those who are reciting, fine, but those who are not, this is how you can start. Start, first of all, with, for example, Nafila of Fajr, then try to see if you can start Nafila of Maghrib, then Nafila of Isha, then Tahajjud. Gradually, you start building, that practice. Inshallah, a time would come that you would feel like not missing out. And there are a lot of benefits. So this is second or third habit, try to do. Fourth habit is, we have been reciting Quran, right? We also discussed about the importance of Quran and everything. Now is the time. Now is the time that we have been reading Quran, but it is now from Shawwal to Shaban, there should be Quranic studies. At least 5 days a week, spend 1 hour a day for Quranic studies. And there are plenty of resources online, plenty. Of course, you have to seek advice. What should you go for, right? Even if need be, get a teacher, Nowadays, because of what Zoom, you can easily get connected with some teacher who will teach you, for example, one-to-one, or for example, you and your family, or you and your friends, for example, you can say, okay, let's get together and let us have these classes, right? So, but Quranic studies is must. As we said, that Quran is a huge ocean, right? There is so much. I'll tell you just one example. Some years ago, when I was visiting, had gone for Hajj. I met, Agha Mohsin Karati. Agha Mohsin Karati has lectures on Quran, and he started giving lectures on Quran on television from the time of revolution. That means 1979. Just now we are in 2020. So almost 40 years, right? And even today, when he gives the dars on Quran, thousands of people are just glued listen to him. So one day I met him. I said that, mashallah, your lectures are welcome, because some of them translate to English. So I read that. He said to me personally, he told me this is, he said that, no, if I had picked up any other book, by now I would have completed. But Quran is so rich, so profound, right? It's such a huge ocean that since revolution, I've been discussing Quran up to now, I've not completed. This is how much Quran has to offer, okay? So Quranic studies is a must. Just bring in your schedule that 1 hour a day you have Quranic studies. Talk to your friends, talk to somebody. Nowadays, because of Zoom, mashallah, things become so easy. And plus also there are a lot of resources, good lectures, good tafsir, for example, Sheikh Muhammad Pool has done a lot of tafsir over time. When he was in UK, he has done tafsir of many, many surahs. So you can try to download and listen to that, or there are also other tafsirs there you can learn Quranic studies. Finally, reach out to people. It's very important, especially nowadays, because we are in pandemic, or we think, okay, now we'll be just homebound. No. Inshallah, when pandemic is over, or for example, when we are allowed to go and interact with people, but even before that, reach out to people, your relatives, your parents, your brothers, your uncles, your cousins. It's important that you keep that relation. The needy believers who are needy, and the neighbors. It's also important to have relation with neighbors. The fourth Imam, Sajjad al-Islam, in that book which I discussed on the night of Qadr, about Shisat al-Hukuk, if you see the right of neighbor, he mentions 15 rights there. In that short passage, you found the right of a neighbor. If you divide those rights, there are 15 rights of neighbors. Okay, so make sure that you reach out to your neighbors. It's very important that we do this thing. So these 5 practices, I think, if we keep in mind, that will be a good continuation of the values of Ramadan. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that may Allah give us tawfiq, that we are able to continue with these good values. Today, inshallah, most probably is also the night of Eid. Most probably, in fact, with Sunnis, because I'm part of the group of Sunnis, last night as I was going through, in Toronto, there is a big confusion among the Sunni communities. Some of them already have decided to have Eid today. Some of them are doing tomorrow, because they said that those who are doing today, they said we have got reports of sighting of moon in Somalia, in Kenya, in Djibouti, in Mauritania, and all those things. Ethiopia, they claim. But some of them say we can't believe this because moon was not even born. In any case, but most probably we have our night of Eid this evening. Whether we are doing Taqlid of Ayatollah Khoury, Ayatollah Sistani, doesn't make any difference. So I thought I'll discuss briefly also about the night importance. Again, as usual, ghusl near sunset is mustahab. And there's a hadith from the Prophet. It says, one who recites 2 rakat namaz on the night of Fitr, such that in the first rakat he says Alhamd, followed by 1,000 times Kullahu Ahad, and in the second rakat he says Alhamd, followed by Kullahu Ahad once, that Allah, the Exalted, will grant him what he asked for. Now I know 1,000 may be too much, but maybe you can do 100 if you can't do 1,000. No, but keep this in mind that this is important. Salat is there. Now I've taken this hadith from book Shahrullah. What is the Shahrullah? Those of you who know little Arabic, I would advise you to keep this book. This book I have since 2009 or 2008 when I went to Madagascar for Muharram. So my host had this book. Since then I got a copy. It is about 700 plus, I think, hadith just on Ramadan. So the book's name is Shahrullah fil Kitab wa Sunnah, right? Shahrullah fil Kitab wa Sunnah. That means the month of Allah as discussed in the book of Allah, the Quran, and in the Sunnah. So it's a beautiful collection of all the hadiths. No? So wherein we have taken this page number 497, hadith 773, right? And then it also gives the reference where it got the hadith from, which primary source. Another hadith prophet says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala pours down al-khair, that means all kind of good in abundance on 4 nights. Night of Eid al-Adha, night of Eid al-Fitr, and other nights, right? So this is the night when the khair of Allah is pouring. So we have kept awake all these nights. Today, don't take it lightly. Today also is important. If you're keeping awake all this night and doing ibadat, try to add today. You know, in any case, tomorrow is Eid and also Sunday, right? So try to do that, keep awake and take advantage of it. Now, this is hadith number 767, page 95, right? Imam Ali al-Islam says, if you can preserve the importance of night of Fitr and Nahar, then do so. Say a lot of supplication, prayers, and recitation of the Quran. So we are also told that what do you do? So those of us who have still not completed the Quran, khitmah of Quran, you can make it. We try to cover this thing this evening as much as possible. Du'as, you can see a lot of prayers, supplications, that means du'as. Du'a Yoshan Kabir, again du'a Abu Hamza Sumali, or any kind of du'as you can recite, right? Since there's not mentioned, so any du'as can be there, right? And prayers. And then the 69, again, is the hadith, it says the night of Fitr is the night of receiving in full the reward of labor. That means whatever you have done all this month of Ramadan, today is the day. It's like we are graduating. Today we'll get the reward of our labor which we put in the month of Ramadan by fasting, by praying, by reciting Quran, by giving charity, by sharing our meal with others. All those things we have done. This evening is the time, Imam says, that we will receive the full reward of our labor. So don't sleep. Just be there to receive the thing, right? One more hadith in fiqh attributed to Imam Rida. There's a book known as Fiqh Rida. I have in my collection. It says, put efforts in spending the night of Fitr in supplications and keeping awake, right? So these are a few hadiths, all taken from Shahrullah, but Shahrullah also tells us from where it got this book, this hadith. So keep in mind, it's a very important night. We have kept awake all these days. One more night, do this thing, inshallah, benefit from all this sawab, inshallah. And if you keep awake, then saying 1,000 times Qul is not a big deal, no? But in any case, if you can't do 1,000, do 900. If you can't do 900, do 800. But do recite this Rakat Namaz, inshallah. Next slide, because somebody had asked and I had promised that we'll discuss about Tahajjud Salat. We have actually books. We have published book of Tahajjud Salat, pocket size book, which is about 230 pages, pocket size. It has all the du'as and on Fazilat and everything. It is also an app. You can also get the app free. You can put a download on your iPhone or even an Android phone. You can download. Just go and say Tahajjud Salat, right? We were the first one to put this app on what Tahajjud Salat, even before the Sunnis did. I remember that when we first put this app some years ago, and then there was always a comment. People will say to Sunnis that be careful, this is a Shia version. This is a Shia version. So you can imagine that it was something which even they had not put it now. So let us just look at these few hadiths. You can just read yourself. Jibreel continuously advised me to stay up at night until I thought that the virtues of my ummah should not sleep except for a short time. This is Prophet is saying. Prophet is saying that Jibreel continuously advised me to stay up at night until I thought for a moment that perhaps those who are muttaqeen or those who are salihin should not even sleep in my ummah because they were supposed to say prayers and just sleep little. Advising Imam Ali al-Islam, the Prophet said, observe the night prayer. And he repeated 4 times. You can imagine. Prophet repeating it again and again. There must be some wisdom. There must be some reason why would he do that. Oh Ali, a believer has 3 happy occasions in this world. Prophet says. Meeting fellow believing brothers. This is the now Eid tomorrow, inshallah. I hope that we are going to meet our friends. Even, for example, as we were advised yesterday by the doctor, that we'll try to keep the distance, but at the same time, there's nothing wrong in meeting them. Offering food to those fasting, right? And saying tahajjud in the last part of the night. Okay, so keep that in mind. I advise you to offer night prayers, for it is the custom of the virtuous before you. Imam Ali was told by Prophet, the Prophet was told by, the Prophet told the Muslims. Rising at night brings closeness to Allah. It is a penalty against evil acts, and it forbids the sin. So it's a penalty against evil acts. In the daytime, for example, God forbid, we might have done something wrong. By namaz tahajjud, that actually is a penalty against that, no? And also stops you from committing sins. Allah did not take Prophet Ibrahim as a friend except on account of his practice of feeding others and for saying prayers at night while people are asleep. Allah says in Quran, Ittakhadallah Ibrahim Khalila. Allah has taken Ibrahim as a Khalil, as a friend. And the Prophet says on account of two things. Because of his practice of inviting people for the meal, right? Feeding others, at the same time saying prayers at night. So these are just few hadiths. If you have our book or if you just download the app, you'll get all the information and how to say the prayers. If you don't have time, then what you should pray, what you can leave. There's also FAQ. Some of the questions people have, for example, are covered there, inshallah. With that, again, before you go, I'll ask Brother Ali, let us have the poll now before question answer starts. So people start leaving. Now, let me just clarify about the poll. What is it that usually we have these sessions here in Toronto half an hour before Qaza time. So, for example, next Saturday, the Qaza time will be here at 5:40 a.m. here in Toronto. So we are suggesting at 5 o'clock, around half an hour before that. 5 o'clock. So even if you, for example, wake up for prayers, you do your taqibat, right? And then before you go to sleep and rest again, then at least you can have this session. So this is why I'm suggesting that time. But there was also a suggestion, somebody said that we do it on Tuesday evening. So that is what you are going to just choose. Inshallah, by Saturday, next Saturday, we'll announce it. Through Jamaat announcement or through Academy, you'll find that we'll announce that at what time we are doing this session and what will be the topic. And there'll be Saturday and Sunday. Maybe I'll do one day, another day somebody else will do it, right? So we'll be having on the weekends, inshallah. So Ali, if you can just launch the poll.
Sure. Let me just, Sheikh, I'm having that same issue again.
Okay,
are you able
try?
to?
Okay, let me try. That's okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, Bismillah, you can just vote now.
Okay. Yeah. Feel free if you haven't had a chance to vote, and even if you have, if you want to just try again, please feel free. And while you're voting, maybe we can start with the questions as the votes come in.
Some of you can also start writing your questions.
Right. Sheikh, we have one question here about it's an interesting question. If one is not able to continue doing the nawafil and the tajahud and all the other things that they picked up during my Ramadan, could that mean that the month was not beneficial for them, or that maybe perhaps their sins were not forgiven in this month? Is that an indication if they're not able to keep it up after my Ramadan?
No, we can't say that indication, but it shows that perhaps the Ramadan, effects of Ramadan has not got deep into the person, right? Because over time, these things are supposed to bring that changes in our spirit, in our souls. So sometimes for some reasons, it does not get through. But we just have to try. That is why I said that don't go, I'm not saying that do nawafil at a go. What I did was that I divided, for example, in the preference. Start with Maghrib, Nafila, Fajr, then go for example, Nafila of Isha, then Maghrib. So gradually you can do it. Because we are saying 17 rakats, we have been doing since we became Bali. Now Nafila is double than that. So to be able to get into practice of saying Nafila is not easy. It won't come overnight. It will not just come by one Ramadan. See? So that's why build yourself to that.
Sounds. This is related to Nawafil as well. If somebody has been doing Gaza Salat instead of Nawafil and they're traveling, does their Gaza namaz also become Qasr that they're reciting while they're traveling?
No, the Qaza will be based on what became Qaza. If your Qaza became when you were not Musafir, when the namaz which became Qaza, if there was complete namaz, then you will still say complete namaz, even if you say when you are traveling. But if you got a Qaza which is Qasr namaz, you will say Qasr namaz even if you say at home. So whatever you missed, you will say accordingly.
Thank you, Sheikh. I think you might have answered this question, but let me just try. If we have a choice between doing Gaza Salat and Nafila, which is better, doing the Qaza namaz or the Nafila?
Of course, Qaza namaz, right? Because who knows? Am I sure that I'll be living tomorrow? It's always good to finish your Qaza namaz in your lifetime. Don't leave on somebody to do it. So yes, always finish your Qaza first and then get into Nafila.
Sense. I hope I'm reading this question correctly. Nafila namaz can be done after Subuh namaz as Qaza, correct?
Nafila namaz after Subuh namaz, Tahajjud Salat only. Tahajjud Salat can be done, yeah. If somebody has missed Tahajjud Salat in the morning before Fajr, he or she can do Qaza of Tahajjud Salat.
Asant. Again, this is more like looking for some advice. If people are not so good at staying up or getting up as a habit, do you have any advice on how they can?
For Fajr?
I guess for.
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
It is said that a person who recites the last verse of Surah Al-Kahf, Surah Al-Kahf is Surah number 18. I think it has 111 verses. I have the Quran in front of me. Let me just open it. So if you see Surah Al-Kahf and see the last ayat of Surah Al-Kahf, my teachers used to say this thing that recite before sleeping. So yeah, the last ayat is 110. Sorry, ayat number 110. If you recite that thing, Kul innama nabash mislukum, then inshallah that will help you to wake up in the morning for prayers or anytime you want. So that will help. There are also other things. For example, they say the people who sleep late will have a problem. People who, for example, eat lot, late. If you eat, for example, if you have your meal very late, the people who have got the habit, for example, having dinner at 10 p.m., 10:30 p.m., then this also will affect on you a problem in waking up in the morning. Our book, this now Tahajjud Salat, also has section on what prevents a person from not able to do Tahajjud Salat.
Thank you, Sheikh. Somebody's looking for clarification on the Nafila from Maghrib. Can you go back one slide? I think they're saying, is it 2 rakat or?
It is 4 rakats.
4 rakat.
4 rakat.
That's right.
It is 4 rakats, 2 times 4 rakat. But in case if you say what namaz al-Bufaila, which is 2 rakat, after that you just require another 2 rakats. Bufaila will be taken part of Nafila of Maghrib.
Again, this question's a little bit cut off. I'm not sure if I'm reading it right, but it says, what are the other 2 nights besides 2 Eid nights?
Yeah, I just now don't remember. If the best of my recollection, I think is 15th of Rajab and maybe 15th of Shaban. But you have to check it. Now, I just did not because I just kept the relevant part. But if I open the book, I can get it. But anybody who's interested can email me. I'll get you exact hadith now. But I think it is 15th Rajab and 15th Shaban. But we can check it now, inshallah.
Okay. Hassan, thank you. And some people are wondering about the classes afterwards. Maybe they're not getting the Jamaat announcements. So if you're not getting Jamaat announcements, put your email in the chat and I'll capture them and we'll make sure that one way or the other you guys are informed about when we decide to hold.
It will also be put on a website.
Yeah, and we'll put it on the website too, right?
Once decided, we are going to put on a website and also Jamaat website, because Jamaat has also agreed to announce this thing. So we will be, inshallah, just after Eid, because I didn't want to disturb people. Everybody's busy just now. But inshallah, after Monday or Tuesday, we will decide, most probably. You can see on the poll just now says that, more people would like to have in the morning than evening. And we'll also take yesterday's poll. although just now out of 100, only 64 voted. So others may vote is the wish, but still, no, there are 100 people up to now, and there are only 64 has voted. No? So we still have 36, actually about 102. So of course 102 because I cannot vote and you cannot vote, Ali. So
That's right.
yeah, 100 people, yeah.
Okay, so very good. So just check the Academy of Islam website and we'll have those details, or the or if you're in the Jamaat.
There should be an announcement on our website. And we'll also announce the timing, we'll announce also, and the timing will change. For example, what we'll do, for example, we start at 5 a.m. on Saturday. That time will be there for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 1 month, for example, and they will change, So it will fluctuate, but not every day will change it, or every maybe 1 month like this. But we'll announce it and also the topic. What are we going to cover? Is it a dua or Quran or something? Inshallah, we'll let you know.
Interesting question here. Is there any recommendation to have suhoor on the night of Eid?
Sorry, what's the question?
Is there any recommendation to have suhoor on the night of Eid?
So yes. Yeah, it's Mustab, yeah. Oh, sorry, so night of Eid or day of Eid?
It says night of Eid.
Night of Eid, of course, we said keep awake, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, whole night we said, but also day, tomorrow, Eid day, it is Mustab to do Sahri. As we did, for example, Sahri this morning, although we won't be fasting tomorrow, but still it's said that as a practice, that just it's Mustab to do it.
Oh, very good. Okay, excellent. Thanks for clarifying. Do you have any suggestions on the best way to read Quran tafsir? And do you have a good source that you would recommend for a tafsir?
Yeah, tafsir, depending. If somebody is beginner, then I would suggest to them the abridged version of Mir Ahmad Ali. There is a tafsir of Mir Ahmad Ali in Al-Rapuya, which was done in 1964. But then after that, they did an abridged version. If that be the starting point, for those who have not done it at all. Then after that, if you finish the abridged version, then go for the full version of Al-Rapuya and Mir Ahmad Ali. And then, as somebody mentioned some time ago, enlightening commentary on the light of Quran, which is available on alislam.org, which is in 20 volumes, enlightening commentary. So these three will be good. Now, those people who don't only speak English. Now, if you can read Urdu, then I would suggest you can read Tafsir Namune, if you can read Urdu. Otherwise, at least this will help. Now, this is just reading. But of course, the best way of tafsir is, I think, that you read and talk to somebody who knows. So do mubahasa, do, for example, discussion. That I read this, for example, passage of Quran, and this is, I read tafsir, this is understood. Is there any more insight? Is there any more reflection? So that is the best way, that you have a partner. And nowadays with Zoom, you can do, the partner can be also from Iran, partner can be in Iraq, partner can be in India, right? Have a partner, for example, and you do this discussion, mubahasa. This is called mubahasa. That means religious discussion. That will really help, because that way both of you look at the ayat. The beauty of the Quran is that when you look at it, and what you all see, what you find and what I find will be different. It's an ocean, right? When you dive in the ocean, you can get some kind of jewelry. I can get some kind of things. So that is the beauty. I remember reading an article by Marhum Ayatollah Bakr Sadr, and he was writing, in his article, he quoted some of the verses, which I have read so many times. But the way he understood it, the way he used it in that article, I had never even thought about it. So you can see that this Quran is a huge ocean. You can just pick up kind of jewels. So when two people are there, 2 minds, 3 minds are there, you try to learn this. But be careful. Don't try to interpret within your own things, because there's a hadith which clearly says a person who interprets Quran according to his own thoughts will find himself in Jahannam. So that should not be the case. Based on the understanding, based on the hadith of Masumeen, based on the tafsir of previous experts, try to understand the Quran.
If someone's praying Salatul Gufayla, and that's equal to 4 rakats of, does that equal to 4 rakats of Maghrib Nafila?
No, Gufayla is 2 rakat. then he has to do another 2 rakat to become 4 rakat of Maghrib. Nafila of Maghrib is 4 rakat, 2 namaz of 2 rakat each. So if you recite Gufayla, that is first 2 rakat, and after that you recite another 2 rakat.
Asant. Thank you. Let's see here. With your experience, do you believe that second generation parents, I guess here in Canada, US, can raise muttaqi children, and if grandparents on both sides are not really practicing?
Inshallah, they can. You'll be surprised. No, I have seen, and I don't know if there are people here just now listening who are from Africa or not, but honestly, I have seen some of the youths in the community in the West better than even some of the youths in East Africa. So of course it can be done. No? Keep in mind that no, raising a children is an art on its own, but it is not only what you do, it is what you do, how you talk, even what you feed them, right? It's important. If my earning is halal and that's what I'm feeding my child in Canada, will make a big difference than if my earning is haram, even if I'm feeding him in Makkah. If my son is living, for example, in Qum, and if I'm feeding him haram things, it will not have effect on him, right? His spiritually be affected. So keep in mind that there are so many things, so many factors which brings about taqwa in a child. So yes, we can be done. In fact, I have seen, mashallah, in Canada, in States, since because of my work, I used to travel a lot. Not nowadays, I used to travel a lot, different jamaas for Muharram, for Ramadan, and I used to stay with Mu'mineen, and I saw some of the parents who raised their children. Really amazing. It's amazing that they were born here and they were raised here, in North America.
Yes. Next question is for again the children, the adolescents. If they're defiant, many times it's very challenging to ensure that they lead a life with the Ahlul Bayt. Can you give a few more advices on how to deal with, I guess, defiant adolescents?
Yeah, of course. There's a discussion on its own. No? You'll always find that sometimes, because that is the age, right? The age, that adolescence age is that at that time the child wants to, show that he's in control. He's not being controlled. So they always try to define the parents to show that no. So of course, then we need an art, right? They say Gujarati kara hui jo, we should have the art, how to talk to them, how to win them. It's not a simple answer. Every particular aspect, every kind of audacity of the child has to be dealt differently. But it is over time. It will not just suddenly happen. No, the moment you find certain signs in your child is becoming rebellious, you start acting from them. Don't, for example, let it go. Sometimes we say let it go, and sometimes it becomes so late that now the child has gone out of hand. So I know it's not an easy thing, it's a challenging thing, but we have to work. We have to work right from the beginning. And there are a number of things, of course. There are books written by good scholars on raising children, right? Look at those things. Inshallah, you get some benefit. Or talk to some of the parents. If you find, one of the things which I found missing in our community is that we don't share good practices. Nowadays I see that mothers have, for example, these groups whereby they're talking about it. But usually, if you find certain boys and girls who are youngsters, teenagers, they are good and muttaqi, talk to the parents. What did you do? How did you raise? So it's important that let us try to share good practices.
Excellent idea. I think this listener is just looking for confirmation if they're traveling more than 90 miles away from their home, the fasting is not obligatory, correct?
It is not from home. It is from Hadd Tarakhus, from the boundary of the city, 22 kilometers or 14 miles. One way. If you go 22 kilometers outside the Hadd Tarakhus, then yeah, you become qasr. You cannot fast. 14 miles or 22 kilometers.
I'm not sure I understand 100%, but if is considering child benefit halal sustenance for the children if they're receiving a child benefit?
Yeah. So
is that considered halal sustenance?
Yeah, if as long as no, of course, yeah, what you're receiving from the government is halal, as long as no, you're not made wrong claims. For example, let's say that no, that the child is not yours, is your nephew or no niece, and then you call it as yours, and then you take the what claim or any other things. For example, before the government gives you the what benefits, there are certain grounds they use, right? On they use your return, your tax return, or your reporting, how you report. If all those things have not, there is no cheating in it, then it's okay. They're getting from government. In any case, they are giving you your tax, right? Somebody has paid the tax and they feel that you deserve it. They give you.
Thanks, Sheikh. We have one last question. It is a little bit off topic, but it's the last question, so let's try. If the children have gone wrong due to parental neglect of feeding them, I guess, not halal risk, who will be questioned, the parents or the children, and why should the children suffer?
Yes, the parents will be questioned. Not only parents, even the grandparents, because this problem may continue not only in children. If we, for example, feed wrongly or do wrong, that practice will be the children and their children. No, so of course we'll be responsible for that. No, of course the children themselves initially will not be responsible, but once they become baligh and mature, at that time they cannot say I'm only because of what my, because now they are mature, they know what is right, what is wrong. They go to majalis, they go to madrasa, they read books, so they'll be answerable for that. No? But initially, yes, because when they are children, masoom, at that time, for example, it may be the fault of the parents. So that particular time, they'll not be responsible for that time. No? But once they become a boy or girl becomes mature, say 15, 18 years, go to university, college, now they can read themselves, they can do research themselves. They cannot just blame them because of my parents or grandparents what I am. No?
One or two more just name just now. Again, maybe a bit off topic, but we'll maybe stop after that one. Is quick confirmation is my maternal aunt, my mother's sister, mahram to my husband?
No, she's not mahram. This question was asked earlier. I told very clearly that please don't bring fake questions here.
Yeah.
My only fear is that, for example, if I answer wrong, I will not be able to correct it.
Sure.
Yes, so these are the things. It's very important that you perhaps email us or no, or talk to a alim in your area and get. But yeah, but because this was asked earlier, yeah, it's not mahram because my wife's masi, that means my wife's aunt, is not mahram to me. My wife's mother is mahram to me, but my wife's aunt is not mahram to me.
Okay, I think that is the last question we have so far in the chat. Any other last questions or people are typing? We'll give it a few seconds.
Okay, so alhamdulillah, 17 people have voted, 71 out of 74, and majority have voted for the Fajr session. So most probably we'll be having on Fajr on Saturday and Sunday, but inshallah you will get the information on Jamaat website and also academic website. So please join us. What's important is I request you that those who join, please maintain as we did in Jamaat Ramadan, because a speaker or a presenter puts a lot of efforts. Although we were doing presentation only 15 minutes, but believe me, sometimes I would need 2 hours to prepare this 15 minutes lecture, to go and research and try to find the books and references, right? So please, if you decide to come, then be with us now, and don't find any short reason or small excuse to remain absent. No, that's the only my request. No, and again, please pray for us that may Allah accept these efforts. May Allah give us the remaining hours of this holy month. We try to spend the best way. I wish you in advance Eid Mubarak to all of you, and please pray for the academy that we can continue serving the community, inshallah. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
Hassan, thank you, Sheikh, and Eid Mubarak to you as well. And thank you. May the Almighty reward you amply for all all the time you put in, the effort you put in. And I really feel that you've expounded on this dua wonderfully. And I think everybody is also interested in the tips that you give at the end as well. A lot of the questions are on that, and there's a lot of interest there. And we want to thank you as well for all your time and effort, and may Allah reward you for that. And inshallah, we hope to continue again on the weekends when we pick up again.
Yeah, see you on Saturday or Sunday, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, thank you everyone, and thank you for sticking with us for the whole month. Take care, Eid Mubarak, and Qadafis. Assalamu alaikum.